What's up, Night Viewer? I want to first start off by saying my bad. I do apologize for not posting any videos since my last video, which was pretty much giving you guys info about motorcycle helmets. You know, what to look out for, like the ratings and stuff. And the reason for that is because I went on vacation from work, and while I was on vacation, I decided to hang out with my family members and my friends. You know, things that I don't normally have the time or chance to ever have the opportunity to do. And while I was on vacation, I decided to also take, a break from doing a couple of YouTube videos and stuff. I'm not neglecting you guys. It's just that it was my way to, pretty much have more of a expansion time and opportunity. Like I said, to be with my friends and family. Anyway, but I'm back on track. Now, this video is pretty much about, alright, for those of you that don't know, I was born in the 80s. And there was a lot of cartoon shows, well, I watched it all from 80 to the 90s, 2000, and everything from there. There's a lot of shows and a lot of um, shows that came out with their own toy line that I feel that, that should make a comeback. And I'm not just talking in terms of, just for collecting, but also for, the new generation need to sort of get in touch or, find out about these things. Now, granted, yes, you can look it up here on YouTube. I'm pretty sure or confident that there is somebody out there that pretty much uploaded some series or episodes. So if any of them sound interesting to you, definitely check it out. But in terms of collecting, like if you want to collect like figures or toys or anything from those toy lines, I feel like they should have more of an update. Now, what do I mean by an update? Well, here's an example. Now, remember, I've seen it all, from the 80s all the way up and prior, even to this current generation. I don't really watch much shows, but in terms of collecting, with the technology that we have now, I feel like we should have GoBots make it their return. I mean, granted, yes, there is a third-party company that's currently making the figure, but it's like, truth be told, granted, over in Japan, there a lot of question about which show started. Was it GoBots or Transformers? But here in the U.S., GoBots came here first. And to me, they were the one that introduced the name characterization of Optimus Prime and Megatron. But not only that, granted the show was cheesy and everything from there, but that's how it was back in the day in the 80s. Everything was sort of cheesy or maybe, cringeworthy, but they were entertaining. That was all about having fun. So, that's pretty much what the shows were about. It did have some decent action, and one of the things about GoBots is, and I'm not talking about that play school GoBot, I'm talking about the one where they had like Crasher, Leader One, you know, the Scooter, everything. It just goes on and on and on. I feel like they should either come out with the cartoon series again and actually have an official GoBots toy line because, again, right now there is a third-party company that's producing these GoBot figures, but anything coming from third party is going to be high in price. And I feel like, if you want to introduce these new generation or people that probably even heard what GoBots were, I mean, for all you guys that were from the same age group as me, think about it. Wouldn't it be awesome, like right now, with the articulation being an improvement, the coloration, all that and everything else. For example, I always want to have a puzzler, a GoBots puzzler. That is a combiner for, those of you that's not aware of. You can look it up and everything like that. Seriously. That would be awesome with the articulation that we have nowadays and everything. And, an updated look in their vehicle modes, in their robot modes, and all that good stuff. So that's just an example, just throwing that out there. Another show I feel like they should bring back, have it more like an updated twin on it, would be Exo Squad. Now, granted, they did have toy lines for Exo Squad, but I never had the figures or the toys. But I always enjoyed the cartoon for what they were, and I'm not gonna lie, I did actually want to have some of the figures, but I, being a kid, I had too many toys as it was, so yeah, it was like my mom was just like, no, that you have too many toys, and yeah, so but other than that, it just like there's another one. I mean, would it be great to have the reintroduction of Exo Squad? And now, for those of you that's not familiar, Exo Squad was sort of like the best thing I could think of in terms of description is think of people in these giant robotic mech suits that has space capabilities and planet jumping capability where they are always battling. You know, it's like a war. You know, it's one that cliche good guy, bad guy type of ordeal. But it was entertaining. They did make a couple video games of Exo Squad. I remember dabbling a little bit of it, but that was way back then. I never really fully played because it was probably one of those games a friend of mine had, and I just borrowed it for like a couple minutes. But other than that, you know, I think it would be a good addition. Now, another cartoon show and another toy line that I think that should make their comeback would be Centurions. Yes, Centurion. For those of you that's not aware of, Centurion was pretty much these figures, pretty much maybe probably about almost the same scale as G.I. Joe, maybe a little bigger, but these characters, and you put robotic pieces on them. Well, not really robotic, but these accessory pieces on them that either give them the ability of flight, being underwater, or being on land, or whatever your imagination can be. And it's always more in terms of like a warfare type deal. The cartoon, cheesy as usual, but it was entertaining. That's what the whole theme was. And with Centurion, I think it would be awesome for, you know, people that want to do more with their figures, you know, to be more creative. Because that's what they pretty much brought out. And I think, like I said, more of an updated look, maybe a new casting, voice actors, or you can bring back the old, if any of them still around, and RIP to all of those that passed. You know, oh, by the way, for those of you that graduated in June or passed your exam in June or probably going to summer school or whatever, don't worry, you're still doing good. Congratulations to all you guys out there. Now that I got that out the way, but like I said, it just, you know, that concept, that idea. Same thing with like can be said about He-Man and She-Ra. Granted, I understand. What was it? There used to be like a He-Man special mail order type function going on a while back. You know, where you get like a figure of different characters and whatnot. That's all cool and dandy, but the price was kind of not cheap or not decent. It was like kind of high up there, and it was one of those exclusive things. A lot of people were into it. I'm not saying it was a failure. It was a success. But I feel like the Masters of the Universe need to make a more of a impact, especially since how successful those you know special edition ones or you know mailing ones came about. So with the success of that, that should you know at least get the you know the positive light in terms of Mattel or however I don't know who had the rights to them now, but it pretty much show a sign like hey people still dig this. So, I mean, granted, a couple years back, they did come out with a new He-Man cartoon, but I feel like it was short-lived and it wasn't that many episodes. Should have been longer, should have been better, but that's just me critiquing. Now, another, well, since I already mentioned GoBots, why not do Rock Lords? Now, I did have a Rock Lord. I might have had two, but I remember specifically, I had three. Was the leader of the good guys. I forgot what the good guy team name was, where he transformed into a gray boulder, and he had like a red helmet type deal, but he was the leader, and it was actually a good figure. And then I had the pterodactyl dinosaur thing that it was green. I remember, and you see like some bones on the side and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't have any of these toys now, but that's what I'm saying. It would be nice to have them do an update. what was cool about Rock Lord is, okay, alright, to be fair, they just transformed into rocks. They're rocks. But they were still cool. But it's just like, oh, and also the third one was that one bad guy character that had, it was one body but it had two heads. Forgot his name. Again, these would be a great time for update, to definitely introduce, the new people, the new generation, all that stuff. Darkwing Duck, or, stuff. Cartoon shows, like I said, not just cartoon. But for me, one of the number one top 5 series that I feel that should make a comeback right now, especially since, you got everybody doing different forms of collecting, but this collection, well, pretty much it's called M.A.S.K. That's right, M.A.S.K. M.A.S.K. These toy lines and the cartoon show pretty much was about a group of people who pretty much got these specialized vehicles that can be activated by the owner or the user having a mask, and it gives them a different persona, and it also shapeshifts their vehicle or transform the vehicle into another thing. I loved that show when I was a little kid. I loved it just as much as I loved the GoBots and Transformers because it was different. At the time it was different, it was new, and the idea of it was awesome. I even had some of the toys. Well, not that many, but I had the one green motorcycle that changed into a helicopter. I also had that one white van, and that was like one of my favorite toys. I don't no longer have it, but it was this one white van where it splits open, and this red plane cocks up, and it can rotate and all that other stuff. That thing was big and it was awesome. I would love to have that again. Um, and so many others. I mean, right nowadays it's like I know there's still some still floating around, the Generation Ones or the originals and stuff like that. They're still floating around, but they're overly priced, and that's one of the reasons why I'm saying, you know what? Granted, yes, there are third parties out there that, you know, in terms of Transformers, they're available. In terms of GoBots, they are. Well, I know one company is, but there should be some more out there that's producing those. But I'm saying, why not bring them back now? Granted, I understand the rating and the visual mentality is a lot different from how it was back then, but I feel like, you know, there's a little tweaking you can do, like, whatever, but it just, I just feel like this just has to be done because these are the series that sort of help mold my childhood. That's why I'm so creative. That's why I'm so, energetic, and I'm always, thinking of different things, and I'll always have great conversation with my friends about these. And I just feel like, you know what? I got nephews, I got nieces. Sometimes I'll tell them about certain shows, and I feel like an old fart when I talk about them. I'm not old though, but I feel like I should inform them about it because they're not seeing this, they're not witnessing this. I mean, there was even that crap. What's the name of the show? Um, it had a toy line. It was pretty much these figures come with like a statue, but the statue actually separates apart and becomes the figure's samurai suit. Uh, if only you guys can see or hear what my mind is saying right now.
I am gonna say it's Ronin Warriors.
But anyway, um, I'll probably link it down. But pretty much, I'm starting to run out of ideas. But there's plethora. I'm seeing plethora of cartoon show. Like for example, Swamp Thing. Oh man, what a great toy line. Swamp Thing, where you got Swamp, and then you get the evil bad guys, where they sort of mutate as toys. There's just so many plethora. I mean, pretty much, what's your thought? What do you think should make a comeback, whether it's in a cartoon show form or for like collecting, like, you know, figures, toys, something that either never been heard of or pretty much should make a comeback that really was one of the major players of your childhood. So that's all I got. So once again, I'm back. I'm gonna be making more videos, but until, hope you guys have fun. Later.